Hey, it's Jay, and you are listening to the Walk With Me podcast series. If you're new, I'm Jeannine. I am a New York Times featured celebrity life coach. I help women create soulful feminine business models in the self-help industry, women who are launching their business as an entrepreneur, bringing their healing, gifts, and qualities, mindset tools, and tricks to the table. I do this through my signature program, Mentor Masterclass, and this podcast is for women who are committed to having it all through mastery coaching techniques, really intimate spiritual conversations sometimes, practical conversations on other days. But the intention is a weekly practice where we literally walk together. And my hope is to help you create time, financial, and limiting belief freedom. This is a must listen episode for women who are ready to pursue their unique calling and go deeper into their success in your work in the world and are finding that you are being caught up with initiations. And so I'm going to teach you a mastery level coaching technique that I teach my students inside my signature life coach training program, Mentor Masterclass, today. And it's all about archetypes. Archetypes are a powerful coaching technique that coaches can use or women can use either in their business to coach their clients to get better results, go through identity changes, or in your personal life if you are making a career change, if you are trying to break that glass ceiling into deeper layers of support and success in your life. Archetypes can be really helpful in making it fun, playful, easy to go through these really challenging life experiences. So I want to teach women leaders not just how to coach using archetypal goddesses. I want the women listening to this podcast today to use them in your life and your work. So I'm picking one of the most powerful archetypes that is present for me right now. It is the initiator. And first, I'm going to vent to you today, and then I'm going to tell you how I've used this archetype to move through what's felt like a huge initiation and a big challenge in business that's directly related to my personal life. So I want to invite you to get your shoes on and go out walking. As you know, in most every episode, I am out walking, and it's been a rainy disaster here, and it's too loud at my gym to film. So once again, I'm going to just be kind of walking around my house. I'm cheating a little bit today, but I hope that you will do the good thing and be out in nature where nature provokes your unconscious mind to come to the table. And this is an episode where after the show, I'd love to hear from you. So I hope that you're taking advantage of joining the podcast by signing up on JeannineYoder.com. I share tips and tricks and resources and extra goodies that I can't give away if you're just subscribed on iTunes or Stitcher or someplace else or YouTube. So make sure that you go on over to JeannineYoder.com and get on the list where you'll get the weekly blogs, because in those emails I share extra resources that I know you're going to want to get your hands on, always for free. And also, I don't want you to miss our weekly walks. So if you don't mind, if it's okay with you, I would love to vent, and I promise this vent will lead toward teaching you a really mastery level coaching technique and spiritual practice that once you learn it could change your life. But first, I'm going to get nitty gritty and real with you, because I'm coming off of a weekend of a huge initiation and a challenge that knocked me on my ass. And I want to talk to you about it. So here's what happened. If you've been listening to the episodes leading up to this, you know I'm filming quite a few podcasts before I go on vacation with my family. I'm going to lead a retreat for the women who are signed up in my mastermind program, the Captivating Feminine Leadership and Sisterhood Mastermind. A group of 12 women who are working together with me intimately this year in a mastermind container. We have retreats and travel that we do. And I plan for these events far in advance because, as you well know, if you've been listening to the podcast, and if you haven't, this is your first, my mission is to prove that our lives can come before our businesses, that we can be truly financially successful on our own terms, whatever that means to us. For me, right now in my life, that feels like having a minimum 6-figure income for my actual take home, and being able to run my business with a team that supports me so that it's not all on me. And it also means that I'm working on average 3 days a week, about 21 hours a week. And all of this has become even more important because I'm pregnant and my schedule and timing is going to shift, and my devotion will be healing and bringing this baby into the world while learning how to be a mom of two. And I'm always trying to prove that we don't have to hustle and work hard, and we don't have to suffer or put away pleasure in order to create success, and especially in order to be a leader of huge mission-driven beliefs and forward thinking in our society and our culture, and especially in a masculine business world, making it work for feminine women who are fierce. And because this belief means so much to me, a huge part of my own planning in my business is putting a lot of thought and care into never feeling overwhelmed, into creating systems that support me, and having a masculine structure is the overall vision and belief I hold for myself and women business owners that supports the feminine flow. So the masculine structure I put in place for this particular retreat that's coming up, we're a week away. I'm leaving in 2 days for California to go to a wedding with a dear friend, and then leading the retreat right after. So 7 months ago, I'm searching online, creating the container before I even sold the mastermind, before women invested in it, before the container was committed. The most important part is this retreat. So I love to find beautiful homes on Airbnb, and sometimes I'll pick the location based off that perfect home that I find. So I found this amazing home in Ojai, California. I was looking in Costa Rica, Hawaii, Bali, other places in California, some places on the East Coast, and found this home that actually one of the things we're doing on the retreat is working with archetypes. So I'll do a couple circles where I invoke a goddess archetype to help these women business owners and leaders to find a different lensing or way of looking at the world and access a different part of their psychology, of their embodiment, of their resourcefulness in addressing challenges and even the joys of life. And so an archetype has all these elements that you can use to invoke spiritually, because everything in life has its own vibration, from you to a pillow, a chair, a rug, a tree, the sky. All things have their own frequency and vibration. This is science. This is quantum physics. Everything is made up of energy. And archetypes work the same way. You can find a group of things that all have the same vibration that resonate with that archetypal frequency. So I went looking for this house that would support some of the work that I want to do with two archetypes we're going to work with over the weekend: the initiator archetype and the lady of communion. And these archetypes I chose based off some of the challenges and the dreams and desires of the women who are called to this particular mastermind. So the Lady of Communion is about intention and empowerment. And the initiator is all about your power. And she is really about alignment. I align, I challenge, I clarify. So there are colors that exist on the same frequency of that mantra, of this archetype. There are crystals that are at the same vibration. There are scents and smells and herbs and flowers. And when I found this house on Airbnb, it had a room that is all the purple color of the initiator. And it had a room of the Great Mother, a red room, another archetype I'm going to do a little bit of work with the women over the weekend. And so I booked it 7 months ago, perfectly in alignment with budget. Love Ojai, California. If you've never been, it's awesome. It's like a portal for spiritual advancement and attunement. A lot of hippie people live in that town. Healthy food, amazing spas, all the deeper healing modalities and healers that have moved to live there are accessible. So it's just perfect. So I've been working with a retreat doula. Another thing I've set up, a woman to support me with retreats. If you are ever going into leading retreats, you learn that you need a retreat doula because there are little fires that pop up. And one of the greatest things I've learned about being a healer and space holder on retreat for other powerful women, and when you're really trying to be a voice for a stronger message of something in the world, when you have a purpose that you're aligned with, that you are trying to walk your talk in your work, you will be initiated before leading that retreat. That's another reason why I've chosen this initiator archetype, to help us learn more about how to handle that experience of initiation. And all the women that I work with in this mastermind are all business owners, are all healers in some way, or very creative artists who are trying to uniquely bring their voice and view of the world in order to solve challenges, have a great life through their work. So one woman speaks up for self-advocacy. One woman is a photographer. One woman is creating something called Spirit School. Another woman is how do I even explain her work? It's so many beautiful multi layers. Is a feminine leadership coach, essentially, to looking to merge the masculine and feminine through her work. So initiator makes a lot of sense, and I had forgotten that, of course, I too will be initiated. So a few days ago, I woke up. The day was supposed to be planned for just being at home and having a spontaneous day with my daughter, giving her attention, moving slower since there's so much going on around preparing to travel. And I went to open my phone, and there's an urgent message from my retreat doula and from Airbnb saying, just 1 week and a half before our retreat, the Airbnb host has canceled our reservation. Now, we'd been in contact with him for months. We'd been in contact with him that week. Everything was flowing and moving gracefully. The whole retreat is planned. Everything from guest speakers coming in, reservations made at nearby spas, things being scheduled to be delivered to the home for gift bags and food deliveries. And also, it's a holiday weekend. So I broke down around this cancellation, and it took most of the day to hear back from him to confirm that they really were canceling. This wasn't a mistake and there was no way around it. And I broke down because I basically went into a childish tantrum, which is not my normal reaction to challenges that pop up in business like this. So it had me look deeper at what is going on. And that's what a initiation is meant to do. And our natural reaction, I'm not sure. We all have our own version of that. But I do know that the beauty in an initiation, the beauty in a challenge like this is to find alignment, is to face the challenge, and is to create clarity. And my first resourceful response was to feel disempowered, was to feel fearful about what was going to happen, was to really not trust the path of initiation, but feel frustrated by it. And where this is coming from, when I got to, because my first reaction was, I'm going to let myself feel my emotions about this and not just jump to the positivity. I'm going to let myself feel mad about the lack of integrity and commitment of another person. I'm going to let myself experience the frustration that in our lives we can work to put beautiful structures in place. We can have beautiful intentions. We can do everything right on our side intrinsically, to be coming from an empowered place, to be in integrity, to have high standards, to show up. And we extrinsically to put all the logistical pieces in place. And there are people in this world who can be out of integrity, who can screw you over. And in that moment, what it felt like, our only response when that happens is to just suck it up and solve the challenge and move through it and just take the bitter pill. And I was angry about that. And I think I'm angrier about that at this time in my life because of how much effort I put into this deeper belief that we can create ease and flow. And now all of a sudden, I have to deal with this challenge that I felt I'd prepared myself not to have, not to be blindsided, not to be stressed, not to feel overwhelmed, taken the time, put the structures in place of my own energy and money to plan this experience. And now I don't get to spend this day with my daughter because I'm sitting here crying and upset and angry and feeling powerless and wondering how I'm going to hold everything that I'm holding. And this is the thing. As women, what I notice and why this was striking me so hard is because I want to prove that we can create ease and flow. And there are some situations that life throws at you that will always be unexpected and out of our control. And one of the things I know is a deeper wound that women are carrying from lineages behind us and from cultural influences is holding far too much. And when we're holding so much and something happens like this, we can't change course as easily. It doesn't feel like we can handle it. Our capacity, our range is constantly being challenged and stretched. And how do we discern when it's too much? And because we have our hands wrapped around holding so much, it feels detrimental and little things become big things. And that's something we need to shift, especially if we're going to have the ability to bring our wisdom to greater challenges, to solving bigger problems that we need to be on board for. So it can't be just survival. We can't be in our ego and we can't just be in survival. We have to be able to be conscious. And I was recognizing myself in this challenge. And so my belief and my teachings in the world are being tested in this experience. That's one thing I'm holding. The other thing I'm holding is the integrity of my business, the women who've invested in this retreat and this experience, and the quality of what I want to provide for them, not knowing how to pull this off. There's 10 women who've booked flights and travel and speakers, and like I said, other businesses we've made reservations with, all wrapped up and planned for in this. And then on top of that, I also am holding my family. I'm holding my daughter that day and the disappointment of having planned this day with her. I'm holding my team who now is having to support me in making this shift and their lives and their families being interrupted by this. And my actual family in California as well, because I had rented this particular Airbnb once the retreat ended and the women were checking out. My brother, sister, father, nephew, we're all going to check into the house and we were going to celebrate together and stay together for a few extra days. So also the disappointment of having to cancel with them. And I'm holding all of this, right? As are you. There are scenarios in your life where I know you are holding your family, your work, your greater mission, your own self-care, your children, your business model, your dreams, all of these things that you're holding. And when something out of our control happens, which it will and always does, it can be quite jarring, and it is an initiation. And in the moment, I let myself feel all those feelings. I let myself recognize how much I was holding, all the while knowing and having experience with that when the divine interrupts our plans, often something greater emerges. And I never lost that knowing, that remembering, that experience I've had, and that intention that this too was going to turn out better. But the other thing I was holding is, as I've talked about a lot because it's present for me, my mom dying and receiving her autopsy report back just recently, just days before getting this news, and the autopsy report coming back inconclusive. undecided, and that's the final answer. The final answer is we'll never have a solid answer. So it's just this deeper thing I saw in this moment of this initiation of discomfort with the uncertainty we have to walk with as humans. And it's my process to create a greater sense of security without tuning into control. And so I let myself feel all of these things, and then I went to work. And I successfully replanned an entire luxury retreat within 24 hours with the help of my retreat doula. And I will say that this is what experience brings you. It's going to be like my 25th retreat. So there's no way, had this been one of my first ones, I would have known how to do this and move through those changes so quickly. We ended up moving the retreat. There was nothing in Ojai, California available on the holiday weekend. So we moved down to Beverly Hills. I found another beautiful home. We'll be staying together with the women. The speakers are able to come to Beverly Hills. We're still going to go up to Ojai for a day. So it all worked out really beautifully. And it required my time and energy. And then a few days after this happening, it was Mother's Day. And I found myself being pretty snappy with my husband and kind of noticing it, just like being a little bit judgmental of different choices or things, or a little off. And he had planned a beautiful day for me and his mom and sister. We got our nails done and came home. And then I ended up having a breakdown over something really simple he said over the laundry that night. And then I went to bed and noticed I don't think I've ever had a panic attack before. Once when I went scuba diving. This is the second time in my life that I just was finding it hard to breathe and finding myself really emotional. And I took myself downstairs and I just started sobbing, and I realized how much I'm facing and holding in my own beliefs about the world and myself, and my tenderness with the loss of life and the lack of control. And I'm going through some changes there, which I'm really trying to incorporate into my business model, which ultimately is this deeper healing journey that's helping me expand my heart range and be more gentle in life and have greater life experiences. And my husband ended up coming down, and he didn't say anything. He sat on the couch, even though I'd been so rude to him, and just held me. And it was that moment that I recognized one of the things we need most, and one of the ways to go through an initiation successfully as a woman in a female body is to allow yourself to truly release your grip and to be held. And it doesn't take someone else giving that to you. It really is the act of letting yourself have it, because there were little signs I passed off to my husband along the way. I said, I think I'm having a panic attack. I let myself cry in front of him. I exited the room quite dramatically, secretly hoping he would come down. And then when he did, it was that masculine just letting it hold me, and I fell into his arms and just cried. And we need that as women, to be able to allow ourselves to be held and to fully go into the mess. And as I moved through that, it was a very beautiful experience. I literally felt my body relax. I felt all the emotions move and release and move through. And I could feel with that myself becoming more present, and the recognition and releasing of all that I held. And it's in order to have a breakthrough, we really need to break down sometimes. And in order to feel our power, we really have to fully go into our mess. And that's what this initiation has been like for me. And as I've been moving through it, I've been really tuning into the initiator goddess. And of course I am, because I'm going to be working with her and that energy and frequency with the women business owners and leaders at this retreat coming up. So of course this is coming up for me to walk my talk in, so that I can really speak to it and hold the space for this group in a powerful way. And so I've been thinking about this invitation of alignment, of challenge, of clarifying. And so one of the ways to work with an archetype is the initiator. Her qualities are to know the qualities of that archetype and to bring those light qualities forward in your own lensing. So it's like putting on her face as the lensing to the world. And the light qualities of initiation. When an initiation comes into your life, you want to tune into and become the initiator herself so that you can understand how to move through it. And if you are ever going to run a business, especially a healing business, a self-help business, any kind, if you are a therapist, a coach, a personal trainer, any kind of coach in the world for a team, if you are, working with someone's body in any capacity for the healing, you're going to go through initiations, and the qualities are empowerment and being the challenger, the catalyzer, truth, power, authenticity, clarity, radical change, risk, a breakthrough, innovator. And all those things came up because when the initiator came and said, I'm initiating you, what you want to bring back is your own initiator. Tune into that vibration so you know how to work with it. And that's a lot of what I had to do, the light side of this challenge. The qualities that emerged through me, that I tuned into that vibration of initiation, was I was able to empower myself and get clear and challenge that we could make this possible, that we could pull this retreat off in 24 hours, 1 week before, put together just as amazing, actually better of an experience. It called me into my own authenticity and creativity. I had to get clear. I had to create radical change fast in the change of plans. I had to have a breakthrough. I had to take some risks, booking a new space. I had to be an innovator. I had to think of an innovative way to address this challenge. And now the shadow sides, the darker sides of the initiator archetype are self-importance, making yourself really important or your work really important, judgment, trying to control with the mind, blame, impatience, the need for recognition, power and control in the ego, addictions to mask feelings of separation from source. So when we're initiated, these are some of the things that happen. I definitely went through those first few minutes trying to control things with my mind, trying to keep things the same. A relationship to my power and my control, my ego feeling so upset that it didn't have control, that it didn't have any power in the situation. I really wanted to have a drink, but I'm pregnant. So addictions to mask feelings of separation from source. Had I not been pregnant, I probably would have drank a bottle of wine. Who knows? And so when we tune into those and we're aware of the light qualities that come from an initiation and the shadow qualities that come, when we can first identify that an initiation is happening, that you're being asked to get into deeper alignment, that you're being challenged, that you're being asked to create clarity, you're in an initiation and you're probably going through one in your life or one is on the way. So think about that. First step is you want to create an awareness of the light and shadow qualities I just mentioned. And then there are some questions that can help guide you through some consciousness and choices along the way to let initiation be a beautiful thing in your life, to let initiation and the initiator in you also show up, because not only do we get initiated, sometimes we are on a mission. Some women and men in this world are initiators. That's their soulful purpose, to be the initiator, to create alignment, to challenge and to ask others to clarify and to clarify through the initiator that they are. There are times in your business, especially if you're a coach or healer, an entrepreneur, that you are going to be the initiator of change. You are going to be the initiator of challenge. You are going to be the initiator of creating alignment and clarity in our world or for someone in your sphere. And I want to share some of the questions that I ask that the initiator goddess archetype supports us with when we tune into this vibration of initiation, when we make comfort and peace with it and we don't make it wrong, when we recognize that it's happening. These are some of the questions we can ask ourselves and of the moment to move us through consciously, to get the greater gift of the healing, to not just let it be the retreat was canceled, but let it be a life-changing moment that redefines who we are as a person when we go through this initiation, and that we can go through it quickly and hopefully with more grace and ease and gratitude. So a couple of my favorite questions is, everyone talks about power, but what is power really? That's what I ask myself. So in my situation, when I say, what is power really? And it comes up to, it's not about having control. It's not about things going perfectly. It's not about protecting myself from darker energies or lack of integrous people in the world. It's actually about my ability to respond and how I respond to those moments. To me, that's what power is. Power is my intrinsic relationship to myself and the events of the world, and how in alignment and in attunement I am with those. And how can I more fully live in my truth? What is in my power right now? That's another question that I ask in an initiation. What is the one thing I can do in this situation? How can I more fully live in my truth? And that helped guide me to coming back to my mission. How can I not just give up on this practice that it's possible to have a feminine business model? It's possible to create grace and ease. It's possible to feel secure in uncertainty. How can I bring my truth? So a lot of innovation and solving of the challenge came from that question. And what is the path of this initiation? What is the path of this initiation? Another one I really love is I intuitively know that my reacting emotionally to outside situations and people in my life is slowing down my evolution. So what can I do about my emotional reactivity? And that led me to that moment of accepting it, letting it move through me, and then being held in my emotion. And over letting myself do that over a 48-hour period had me solve a really huge challenge in my business gracefully, quickly, and powerfully. And had it turned a challenge into something that made my efforts and my experience that I'm creating through my work even better for myself and for others. And the other question is, what does acting with integrity mean? And do I need recognition or approval to feel okay about myself? Why? And going deeper. And also, finally, I am the challenge to clean it up now. What am I addressing in you? That's the initiator, right? The initiator says, you can't put this off anymore. I am the challenger to clean this up in your system, in your life now. What am I addressing in you? And so there was so much I shared with you, where I was able to get to those answers about what was really happening with me deeper was from asking those questions. What do I really need? Go deeper. And I am the challenge to clean it up now. What am I addressing in you? So I hope that you can use this story and this experience to create an awareness of when the initiator is showing up in your life, and then ways for you to step into becoming her, to letting this archetype and frequency guide you, becoming it, so you can move through any kind of unexpected challenge, any kind of deeper initiation that's asking you to clean something up in your life right now and asking you to address it right now. Because the truth is, without initiations, we just don't, you guys. We just don't face these deeper things. I knew all of these things are stirring. I've gently been talking about them, but I didn't address them and turn face toward them directly eye to eye and work through the problem and solve it for myself and create clarity and alignment and challenging myself to get clear. If that big initiation event didn't arise. And the thing is, the better we get at doing this work, the less initiations we have, because the initiator doesn't have to show up. If you're in clarity, if you're in alignment, the initiator doesn't show up. But I promise you, as soon as you are, and if you're open and your path is to do great work in this world, you're going to be initiated, not once, not twice, but your whole life long. And so the way for us to move through it is to ask these questions, to recognize and to get truly comfortable becoming that frequency and moving with it, and to see it as a gift, to know that any kind of initiation, this archetype, when we become it or when it comes to us, it's a call to recognize and embrace that part of your power that has not yet been freed into love. It's to recognize how you are holding self-love and power in combination. And it's a gift. It's a gift to receive an initiation. And it's okay to be upset about it. We don't have to like it. We don't have to enjoy this part of life. But we do have to receive the initiation and move with it and walk with it. So thanks for letting me vent about my initiation. I hope that if you've gone through one recently, or if one happens to come to you, that this archetypal resonance with the initiator and the questions that I shared support you. And really looking at, who is presently a primary initiator in your daily life? Who or what deeply challenges you? Who or what presently is really a primary initiator in your daily life? And for me, that's constantly my work and my business and my family. And different people step up to the plate at different times, and I feel myself step up into that too. And if you are in your power, and if initiation is your power being presented to you, what are you avoiding by not taking the initiation fully, by not really taking it up fully? And I hope that you can trust this process and move through it. And I feel grateful to be on the other side of the initiation, that's for sure, and also very changed by it. So thank you for listening and walking with me today. Let us trust initiations always together. And a few reminders for you. It's still not too late to join me in Sonoma, California for the Captivating Feminine Leadership Retreat. We do some archetype work there, so it might be something you'll enjoy experiencing in person and in a more workshop environment where I can actually go deeper with you and help you invoke and understand the energies. The payment plans are ending soon, so go on over to thecaptivateretreat.com, check it out. If we don't know each other, you can apply to see if it's the right retreat for you. We can hop on the phone and talk about it if it's not sold out by the time you hear this. If you go over to thecaptivateretreat.com, you'll know if it's sold out or not. In addition to that, make sure that you're signed up for my newsletter at JeannineYoder.com. I send out weekly reminders about the podcast and some extra tools, resources, and goodies, free support that I don't share on the podcast will be in those emails, so you want to be on that list and registered. Thanks for walking with me and listening to this episode. I look forward to this weekly practice with you. I hope you had a great conscious walk and this reflection serves you as much as it has me. Thank you for creating this intimate partnership with me between your personal life and your business and allowing me to be your support. I love hearing from you. So in the description of this episode, you can find a link to the blog or to my social media handle on Instagram, Jeannine.Yoder. Please send me some insights that you've had, any loving, supportive feedback you have, any questions you have where I can lean in and support you with my deeper resources. I'm there for you. Jeannine.Yoder on Instagram, or head on over to the blog and comment. I read everyone and comment. Love this time with you. Can't wait for next week. We'll talk soon.